Good afternoon. Happy Tuesday. Thank you for joining me, Christie Hutcherson, on the front lines. I am so excited about today's guest. This woman is an incredible patriot for her country and, quite frankly, for the citizens of the world. I've gotten to know Christine Anderson for about a year now. And everything that she does with passion and conviction, and she does it with truth. I also want to thank Brighty on TV today. Thank you so much for being the fastest growing truth-telling TV program and radio program on the net. This is where you need to go to really hear the full truth and the real story. Without further ado, I would like to bring on my next guest, Christine Anderson. Hey, Christine, thank you so much for joining me. I know it's late. You're over there in Germany right now, so appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
You know, I just want to get into this. I want to talk today about the clash between the freedom movement, liberty, and what's standing in the way of that. And that is the World Economic Forum. You have taken them on. I think you're like a one-woman, BA show to go after the World Economic Forum. I know you and I share this passion. So what are you finding in Germany, in Europe? What is going on? My audience is broad, it's worldwide, but the American people need to understand what's truly going on a global scale and how it impacts not just the European Union, it impacts America, and it actually impacts the whole free world.
Yes, it does. You're absolutely right about that one. So what we're actually talking about is a fully blown attack on all Western democracies. I mean, you know, I keep stressing, you know, the Western democracies. The point is this, like looking at China, I don't expect them to have freedom, liberty, and, you know, the fundamental rights and all of that. They're a dictatorship, authoritarian a regime, if you want. I don't expect it, you know, in Russia either. You know, they are not democracies. But if we are seeing what we are seeing right now in every single Western democracy, that's what I would call the shit just hit the fan. Because the point is this, you know, if it was one or two countries going rogue and cutting down on fundamental rights and, you know, stripping the people of their rights, you know, eventually another country would step in. But who the hell is going to do it now if they're all in lockstep? And this is what's happening right now. So what we're seeing, not only in Germany, like I said, in every single Western democracy, is they're pushing certain agendas, you know. So you have like this COVID madness, you know, start there. Then you have this whole transgender madness, which is actually robbing each and every one of us of our core identity, you know, something that makes us who we are we men or women, you know. So you see all these kind of attacks, and plus in Germany, that's a thing they're really pushing right now, is this mass immigration. And that's been going on, believe it or not, for 8 years straight. I mean, it was going on before that, but in 2015, you know, I mean, all the gates were opened. And yes, you have a migration flood, literally just flooding our country. And we're seeing the repercussions of that on an everyday basis. So this is destabilizing our country. It's destabilizing our society. So now we are, as Germans, are being called upon, you know, to kind of like adapt to that new reality. So we have to, as a high-ranking politician once said, yeah, we now have to renegotiate on an everyday basis how we live together. No, I think not. I'm not going to renegotiate anything in my own freaking country. Anyone coming here, you know, you will adapt to the way we do things and we live here. And if you don't like it, get the hell out. It's as simple as that.
Christine, the COVID, we all know what the COVID lockdown, and I love one of your speeches. I went back and you really nailed it as far as the lockdowns, what COVID was about. It wasn't about, they know the masks don't work. They know the jab doesn't work. It was about control, and it was to see how far the world, quite frankly, would go to comply and be under their thumb. And you're already hearing Klaus Schwab's daughter come out right now. We're already hearing Biden's administration get the boosters. Masks are coming again. They're planning a massive scale lockdown, not just from whatever new virus that they're going to unleash on the world, but also under the disguise of climate emergency, climate change. And then you look at, why are open borders in America under this regime? We've done the numbers. We think it's really in reality somewhere between the 15 to 18 million mark, because we have to look at the gotaways. There's a lot of statistics that go in this. England is the same thing. I'm getting ready to go over to England in a couple weeks. I'm meeting with some world leaders over there as well. And then I'm also going to be visiting a massive prison ship. That's what it was really supposed to be for. But now it's housing what? Only single young adult males of what? Fighting age. We're seeing that in the United States as well. Germany, I wonder what the percentage of men versus actual UACs or family units are coming into Germany. I believe they're placing a personal, a mercenary arm of their military to rise up against the citizens of the world when we don't comply to what their next plan is. So let's talk to that. And again, I would love for you to just nail what you said on, you did a speech about, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was incredible and I loved it. And you are so fiery. So what do you have to say to that?
Well, I mean, just look at all the so-called refugees, that are coming into Germany, for instance. Yes, you are absolutely right. It's about 90% males. And what was the story we were told? It was like, well, our, birth rate is dropping, and, we're not at a level that we can sustain our population. So we need kind of new blood, something like that, to kind of keep our population up. But the point is this, for the life of me, I've never heard of the fact that young men can actually have children. So how in the hell are we going to supposed to sustain our population by, importing 90% men? This is not going to work. What is going to work, however, yeah, these young men come here. They've been promised all kinds of crap, about this wonderful life they will be having in the free world. And guess what? They come here now and find out, no, they're stuck in some kind of, a community housing, whatever. They have, if they're lucky, they have, a private room with nothing to do whatsoever. So they go out, and they come across our way of living, meaning, yes, women will walk around town on broad daylight, not wearing a veil, not, covering themselves and all of that. So they consider them to be sluts, obviously. So, and, sluts are kind of they just, take them. So we're seeing this on an everyday basis. And the thing is just this, you cannot assume to import 90%, I mean, millions of young men from this archaic countries, where they have no respect for women whatsoever, coming here and then just going, yeah, well, this is the free world now. We like it, and we're going to adopt their way of living. No, that's not how it works. And we are in Germany actually now talking about creating safe spaces for women, for the carnival we have, or Mardi Gras, I think you would call it. So, where it's a lot of people taking the streets and just celebrating and having a good time. We are now creating safe spaces for women they can, run to, because these men are completely out of control and they do not know how to treat a lady, So this is what we're seeing. We have knife stabbings. I mean, there's attacks with machetes on a regular basis every freaking day, because the point is this, you cannot import Calcutta, without having Calcutta in your country. It's as simple as that. And that's what we're looking at. And the point is really this: it's about destabilizing our country. And at this point, I really wonder what is actually their end game in this. So if they make it impossible to have a peaceful life within Germany, and if you cannot no longer count on the authorities to keep the peace on the streets, what will people do? Obviously, they will rise up and they will defend themselves. And is that what they're actually going towards in order to then have the justification of slamming down on the people? Is that what they want? I wonder.
Well, I think so, Kristen, because, when you look, Christine, when you look at even what's going on here in America, I'm sure over there you guys see the crime statistics, people rushing stores, stealing $100,000 of stuff, stabbings, people being beat up, you name it, there's lawlessness, right? And especially, and they're 90%, 99% in all these democratic cities. You have to wonder, they want people to have a breaking point, I believe. We even have, we're unprecedented. Whether you believe Donald Trump or not, this is about democracy and in the republic we call America, and the rule of law, and overstepping serious boundaries to persecute an opposition politician. And so that's banana republic stuff. That's where we're living here in America right now. We've got a weaponized DOJ. And I think what they're trying to do is push the people, the citizens of the world, to the point where they're so stressed that they snap. And then once they snap, as you know, let's go back to the World Economic Forum. With everything, the umbrella of the World Economic Forum, we've got IMF, you've got the WHO, you've got all of these entities. And by the way, under the umbrella of the World Economic Forum are the world leaders, including the Biden administration. We have the industrial military complex, and we also have the corporate industrial complex, who are underneath the World Economic Forum. And so they are the branch that is ultimately in control over the governments. And they've got a plan in place. And people ask me all the time, Christina, well, what in the world could they do? Because how would Xi Jinping want to give up his power? Why would Biden or the American people want to give up their power, or the Chancellor of Germany? Well, I believe the world has been divided into sectors and quadrants of rule. And these particular leaders, or these countries, these dictatorships, have been promised a section of the world. I know here in America, if you go back and you look at China's 2030 agenda, you can, by the way, don't take our word for it, you can read this. You've got people in China, generals and very wealthy people, who actually have deeds to America's property. They think they own your property, and I'm sure that's the case throughout the world. And so we have to combat the World Economic Forum right where they are. They want us to rise up. They want us to take to the streets so they can enact what martial law and bring in the peaceful security forces, United Nations. We're here to help and keep the peace. It could be further from the truth. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think you might actually be right on that one. I'm not quite sure if these so-called world leaders, you mentioned a few, if they really have been promised, if you just go along, you will get a piece of it. I don't think so. I mean, seriously. I mean, they're just idiots. Any one of the so-called world leaders that go along with this, they're just, that they're just puppets. They're just doing what they're told, thinking they will get a part of it. But they're not going to get anything. As soon as they are done with whatever job they had to do or whatever, they'll be disposed of just as easily as the people are disposed of right now. So seriously, if you're talking about the Chancellor of Germany, like now it's this idiot Olaf Scholz. Seriously, if he honestly believes, as long as he goes along, he would get a piece of it, well, he might want to give me a call, and I'll tell him, you're a freaking idiot and nothing else. So, but this is happening, like I said, all over the world. What I find interesting, however, is they seem to be pushing. I mean, it's like people really need to connect the dots. We have all these kind of issues here. So you have COVID there, you have transgender here, you have a climate here, and whatever else. You need to connect the dots because all of these issues, lead up to the very same goal, which is to strip the people of their fundamental rights, to abolish democracy, get rid of freedom, and all of this. So, and what I have come to realize is they seem to be pushing certain issues in different parts of the world. So when you look at the Netherlands, for instance, they're pushing this climate scam over there, disowning the farmers, seizing their lands. You cannot, grow crops there anymore. Look at Ireland. They now have to call their cattle, whatever, because guess what? The cows fart and poop. Oh, seriously? Do they now? They've been doing that for I don't know how long. It's never been an issue. Now it's an issue. So they need to slaughter them off. So Canada, Hawaii, climate change, there's fires all of a sudden. In Tenerife, there's fires all of a sudden. These wildfires, peculiarly, they start all at the same time for some reason, and it's quite weird how they started, and the houses they did burn and didn't burn and all of that. So they're pushing these different agendas in different parts of the world. In Germany, seems to be the country that is being hit with this migration issue, So, but like I said, you need to pull it all together and see it is about abolishing freedom, democracy, and the rule of law.
Yeah, I was doing a little research, and one of the new arms in the last couple of years, the World Economic Forum has also put underneath their umbrella is something that's called natural capitalism. And I thought that was a really interesting, I'm like, well, natural capitalism, where are they going with this? Well, when you delve a little further into what natural capitalism is, basically, they want to control all of the natural resources. And they break it down as geology, which is, by the way, rare earth minerals, things that we need, gas, oil, all of those things, natural resources to do, EV cars, to even do microchips and things like that for the computers, soil, which is agricultural and land, air, the air we breathe, water, we need water for life. And then the last thing, which was interesting, all living things. They encompass, and they specifically use the word all living things. So that gives you another, I think, insight to their mentality and what their actual overall agendas are. It is complete control over everything. And if you're not willing to go along with their ideology and their plan, which after when we come back from the break in about 4 minutes, we're going to have to break. I want to break down 15-minute cities. I want to talk about how we need to combat the World Economic Forum and what actually, Christine, because I've heard you speak a lot about this, what is the risk to the world with the World Economic Forum 2030 agenda, which I believe they're pushing it up even faster. So yeah. I know you hadn't, we talked about this natural capitalism. You're like, well, that was the first I've heard of it. The other language that they're using is polycrisis. We're in a polycrisis. Polycrisis is like a multi-dimensional crisis with all of these different things coming at us. And they're going to be the saviors to come in to, and I call it distractional fires. So they've got a whole lot of distractional fires burning, and it's keeping us very busy. But we really need to hone in on the root. And the root is to abolish and remove this unelected body called the WEF and all of their agencies underneath of them. What are your thoughts on that, Christine?
Well, first of all, I will have to say I actually have never heard of the term natural capitalism, but it kind of does make sense when you think about what are, the world's billionaires doing? They're buying up land. What does it actually mean when, countries that are deep in debt and they have to privatize? It's actually selling off real estate. It's actually selling off, whatever the people in any particular country. Greece comes to mind, in 2012 when they had their crisis. So the people forced to sell off, whatever real estate they had, whatever real value they had, for, what would you call it? Paper slips, colored paper slips, So it's like, this is like the billionaires of the world, or as I call them, the globalitarian misanthropists. They will actually take up the real value in the world, and they just gather it up. So
Maui, for example.
I mean,
they're coming in right now and offering money to buy up this land that's very valuable, by the way, but because the generational Hawaiians are not going to give it up.
I know, but that's been going on, for years and years and years. Like, when have you ever heard of a country that the World Bank, tried to save, that actually got out of debt? No, they were even pushed further into debt. In the end, they had to give up all of the value they had, so which is now owned by God only knows who, but it's not owned by the people who are actually living in that country. So this has been going on for a long time. And what you just mentioned, Maui, I mean, seriously, it's amazing. So there is people that, own great property and don't want to sell it, because maybe they like it so much. I mean, why not? So, and they just burn it the heck down, seriously? And then, added value, it's climate change which is causing all of this. Seriously? No. I mean, the frequency of stuff like that happening, this is amazing. It's like there isn't a day that goes by where there isn't another crisis. And then we are with your poly crisis, what you talked about, never let a good crisis go to waste, milk it. From their perspective, that's what they're doing. And the people need to understand.
They created this on their own. So hold that thought. We're going to come back after the break right now. Give a shout out to some of our sponsors. I'm telling you, the next 20 minutes, we're going to really delve into 15-minute cities. We're going to talk about the World Economic Forum, what we need to do as the citizens of the world to stand up. Thank you so much for our sponsors. Patriot Switch, jointhefightnow.com. Patriot Switch, jointhefightnow.com. You also, satellite phones. I am using satellite phones. We are going to need these phones. I promise you, you need to go to the satellite phone source, WFFA123.com, WFFA.123.com. You'll get a great discount. You need to get your satellite phone. I go everywhere with my satellite phone. And thank you, Brighty on TV. We are so thankful for you and your sponsorship. And so we're going to also run a couple commercials here and thank our sponsors. We'll be back in just a minute.
Your own government has the power to activate a kill switch on all telecommunications, instantly shutting down all private phone calls and texts. An EMP weapon or solar flare can achieve the same result. Rolling blackouts or permanent power outages will also take out the power supply to cell tower antennas, rendering mobile devices all but useless. During these emergencies, how do you stay in touch with the important people in your life anywhere on the planet? The answer is the Bivy Stick at SAT123.com. The Bivy Stick is a two-way satellite text messaging device that uses a satellite constellation, not cell towers, to send and receive text messages. It works anywhere on planet Earth, including in war zones or blackout areas. In unpredictable times, the Bivy Stick helps you stay connected when it matters most. Visit SAT123.com to get one while they're still available.
Thanks for your support of this platform. Use the code BTV at checkout for additional savings. BrighteonStore.com.
SAT123.com. They have put together a really incredible package: emergency backup communication systems, power systems. We've got sat phones, we've got solar panels, and also the big 400-watt solar panel behind us there. And why does this matter? Because, of course, right now we are dealing with massive risk of blackouts. And the power grid is just failing, intermittently, but it's going to get worse because we've also got energy shortages. Think about the lack of coal power, the diesel problems that are happening right now. If you're in the military or the National Guard or Border Patrol or law enforcement and you need to be able to function even when the power grid goes down, or maybe you're a first responder, rescue team, firefighter, paramedic, you name it, you need to know about this equipment. So SAT123.com, folks. At the Brighteon store, we offer a variety of colloidal silver solutions that we make in Texas using Texas rainwater and specialized circuitry that I personally designed to produce silver ions in purified rainwater. We have a colloidal silver extra strength spray, a silver-based first aid gel, as well as a colloidal silver herbal mouthwash solution that people just rave about. Each one of these is subjected to our rigorous laboratory testing for metals, glyphosate, and microbiology in order to ensure product purity and safety for your health. We manufacture our own silver products right in the heart of Texas and deliver them to you using our own warehousing and fulfillment infrastructure that we built to serve real America. All of us here at Brighteon thank you for your support. Shop our silver products at brighteonstore.com.
Welcome back. We're just going to get right into it. Christine Anderson out of Germany. She's an incredible freedom fighter standing up for German rights. And quite frankly, she actually speaks truth and stands up for freedom, not just for the citizens of Germany, but I think for the world. So I'm so blessed to have Christine Anderson on this show today. So we're going to get right back into this. We're going to talk about the World Economic Forum, 15-minute cities, what they are, and why you should be concerned. So Christine, let's just get into this. I know I was looking today that you call them the ghettos, right? The 15-minute ghetto cities, because that's really what they're going to be. And I was watching the World Economic Forum's beautiful little video that was packaged well about the 15-minute cities. And it talks about a better way of life, and the parking lots are going to become these beautiful parks, and it's going to be kumbaya, and we're all going to be singing together beautifully. And the EV vehicles, and we're just going to have clean energy and clean water. In reality, if we have a complete digital world and a digital city, look at China. Everything you do will be monitored and you will be locked down. And if you don't comply, they can shut off that EV car just like that. They can shut your bank account down. Paris, what was interesting, I was looking at that. There's many of the cities already planned. Paris literally is going to become a 15-minute city right now. That's what they're planning. Vienna and a couple others. So let's just get into this. What do you think?
Well, these are not 15-minute cities. These will be, as you said, 15-minute ghettos. And I really want to make clear, we should not call them 15-minute cities, because they won't be. It's going to be literally ghettos. I mean, look at all of this. In Great Britain, there's already been some counties that have already passed legislation to have climate lockdowns, because what they figured out during the COVID lockdowns, that darn it, we cannot really lock these people down because they still need to go to grocery stores and, buy whatever they need. So it didn't work. So yeah, well, that's what they're going to do now. So they have these 15-minute cities, and you're supposed to have everything within your reach within a 15-minute walk. Right. Okay, fine. So now look at, some of the areas they're already preparing for that. What are they doing? They're not like, building leisure parks. They're not, building libraries. They're not putting up, doctors' offices, schools. None of this is happening. The first thing they do is they erect barricades and surveillance cameras. And that should make you go like, what? So it is not about your convenience. It is not about making your life easier. It is not even about saving the freaking planet, which is hubris to think that, we could save the planet. Seriously, it's not about that. It's about locking you down. And they will be able to, once they have, established these 50-minute cities. What need do you have to leave your assigned area if you have everything there? So that's what they're going for. Look at Saudi Arabia. They're erecting their, what they call the wall, in Neom City. So you have this structure. It's 200 kilometers long. It's 500 meters wide, high, and 200 meters wide. And it will house, brace yourselves, 9 million people. Yeah, if I wanted to get total control over 9 million people, that's exactly where and how I would house them. In the middle of the desert with nowhere to run, being completely dependent upon whoever is running this freaking city. So you have there are even 5-minute neighborhoods, meaning you are not allowed to really step out of your 5-minute neighborhood. You're supposed to subscribe to a 3-meal-a-day subscription. Well, guess what happens if you don't go along with, whatever the rule is on that day? You really think you will get your meal? I don't think so. So, I mean, this is what we're looking at. And like I said, 50-minute ghettos, that's exactly what they will be. They will be open-air prisons, pretty much. And as you mentioned,
a pretty little package concentration camp is what
exactly. So
that's really what it's going to amount to.
Right. And the point really is this: if you think you can just leave that, no, forget it. Look to China. I mean, this is our future, and this is a future, and I'm not talking about a future here in, 30, 40, 50 years from now. It is going on right now. And with all of this surveillance and digital ID, and especially in the European Union, the European digital ID is pushed on a massive scale right now. This is how they will control you, because you will not be able to pass any of those checkpoints. You will be locked down, and you better like it, because if you don't, guess what? Then you're probably a nasty Nazi or, an anti-democrat, whatever. This is what we're looking at.
Christine, this really should scare, and I'm not fearful at all. But I'm going to tell you right now, this should make every freedom-loving citizen of the world, their blood boil. This is serious. We're not playing around here, America or the world. This is very serious. This is their plan. You look right now, Australia, Vienna, Paris. What other cities right now are activating this? You heard the governor of Hawaii just coming back talking about this very thing. They want to be 15-minute city. It's happening in the United States. This planning, and in some instances, they already started the infrastructure of this. And I don't know about you, but any government that comes in to say, hey, I'm going to make your life better, when has in the history of the world, think about this, in the history of the world, when has any government ever made your personal life better? They don't. And you know what they do, Christine, is they like to come up with these beautiful little packages, these beautiful little words, these great little sounding treaties and executive orders, and it's all about you. And really, in reality, everything that they do is to undermine sovereignty, freedom, liberty, and controlling of you.
Yes, yes, you are absolutely right. You know what? That first speech I held that went viral throughout the world. I said in that speech, never in the entire history of mankind has there ever been a political elite that has been truly concerned with the well-being of regular people. So why should it be any different now? Don't believe it. So, and just looking at that, yeah, they're all wrapping these nice packages. It's to save the planet, and we're against hate speech, obviously, because hate speech is so bad. No, these nice packages, unwrap them and look at them. It is really about abolishing freedom, democracy, and the rule of law. And to me, it's like it's at this point really frustrating. But I've come to realize, especially in the Western democracies, people, they no longer have any regard for freedom, democracy, and the rule of law. Why? Because it's always been there, hasn't it? On one fine day, the sky opened up and there it was, bam, No, freedom, democracy, and the rule of law had to be wrestled from the former elites. And our fathers and forefathers did that. And they literally spilled their blood over it, right, to ensure that their children would have a better life in freedom, democracy, and the rule of law. But nowadays, especially in the Western democracies, we are nothing but spoiled, rotten brats. We have no regard for it anymore. We do not understand anymore. It has to be fought for. It has to be defended. And at this point, it actually has to be restored. So now I'm a German. I know. Oh, trust me, I know. Freedom, democracy, and the rule of law, it's not a God-given. No, it's not. You have to fight for it, and you have to make sure that your children will be able to ensure this. And it hasn't been that long. It's what 30 years that part of Germany has overcome an authoritarian dictatorship. And it was one of the worst kinds. They've overcome this. And they still remember what it is like. They know, they see the signs, they know how to read a newspaper. It's not important what the newspaper says. What is important? What does the newspaper not say? What does it say between the lines? Don't fall for the lies. Don't fall for the garbage.
Christine, you come from, Germany, and, Nazi Germany, Hitler was really good at controlling the propaganda and the narrative and trickling out. And you see it right now all over the world in the secular media. They are controlled, and they only let you visually see and hear what they want you to visually see and hear. And it doesn't matter, Fox, for us here, Fox News, MSN, all of that stuff, there's a lot of talking heads and a lot of opinion instead of hardcore, real facts. And this is what's really going on, because they want to dumb you down and keep you distracted, so you don't see everything that's truly going on around you and how all of your freedoms are being eroded. And you made a really good point, Christina. I live here in America, and I can tell you right now, the problem is people will only risk just enough until the heat gets turned up, and it's going to personally affect their wallets or their reputation, or fill in the blank. They don't really want to put everything on the line like I know our founding fathers did. And sometimes comes a moment in history when we have to be collective in unity, and we have to stand up for freedom and liberty, because if we don't do it now, I promise you, very soon in the next coming couple years, you will not know freedom.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right about that. I mean, just looking back at the whole COVID madness, so that was unprecedented. How people were, locked in their homes, were not allowed to leave the house after 9 p.m., even if it was just, going for a walk in the forest all by themselves because they were like, a threat to public health. I mean, seriously, and people went for all of this. But the point is this, the majority of people, they will comply with whatever ridiculous rules the government comes up with because they're afraid of what might happen if they don't comply. When in fact, they should be much more afraid of what will happen if they do comply. That's the point. Don't freaking comply, because there is no way you could possibly comply your way out of a tyranny. It's impossible. It is absolutely impossible. If you try that, the only thing that will happen is you might possibly be the last one they get, but they will get you. They will get you. Do not comply. If a government comes up with ridiculous rules, well, just stand up and say, hey, I'm sorry, the emperor is naked. He is so freaking naked. It's disgusting.
That's right.
That's what people need to do. But we no longer know how to do that. And that's frustrating.
Lockdowns are coming again on a even a worse scale than we saw. And I was thinking about that for a second when you were just saying that, Christine. Really, the lockdowns and the COVID lockdowns are kind of reminiscent of what the 15-minute city is going to be. That's what it is. They locked you down, locked you out. You don't comply. You're putting you behind there. But Klaus Schwab's daughter threatens humanity, permanent lockdowns coming, whether you like it or not. This is the World Economic Forum's daughter, the creator of the World Economic Forum. The WHO bows down to them. These are the people that are masterminds behind all of your loss of freedom and liberty. And here's a suggestion for everybody out there. Start getting in like-minded community right now. Start getting to know your neighbors, your friends, meet regularly in a home, get a plan together. And when those lockdowns come, how powerful would it be when they come to knock on your door because you're not complying? You literally are standing at the ready with 50, 100, 200, 300, 400 citizens in your community saying, you know what, none of us are going to comply. That is powerful, because that really, in reality, Christine, I believe is what they're really scared of, is when all of us unite on a world scale, citizens of the world uniting with one front, exactly, pushing back against tyranny and saying, you know what, there's more of us than there of you, and we will not comply with your draconian orders.
Right. And, that's just the thing. I mean, so often, I hear people say, well, what can I do? I'm just one person. Well, so say 7 billion people. I'm just one person. Now, if we just pull together and if we just tell them, screw the hell out of you, we're not going to do this anymore, that's the end of it. Because the thing is, this, like with this pandemic, no, this pandemic didn't stop if we all complied. This pandemic didn't stop because we all complied. It's as simple as that. Stop complying. Tell them just, screw you. We're not going to do this anymore. And if enough people said that, they would be done. And you're right, that's what they're scared of, and that's what they're afraid of. And that's why you see they're pushing their agenda, on a scale, in a pace. It's mind-blowing. It's really mind-blowing, because they know they're running out of time, because people are waking up on an everyday basis, and we're getting more by the minute, and that's what they're really afraid of. So they just need to get it, all done, before there is, the point of no return. That they want to get there rather quickly before too many people wake up. So wake up, stand up, and start fighting them already.
So in the last few minutes that we have left, let's talk about some practical things that everybody, Christine, I just thought of, I really want to talk to you off camera. I believe we need to create a worldwide citizens freedom database who are willing to connect with one another. We've got all this beautiful connectology with technology and stuff. So we need to collaborate on a world scale and start really gathering the masses through email, volunteership over the world, and really have stand up against tyranny rallies and days for what's coming. And the other thing is we need to be in a collective voice to push back, because it's going to take all of us. I know here in America, we work with a lot of the sheriffs because the sheriffs are very powerful in our country to say, hey, listen, we're going to have your back, but please have our back when we stand up against these draconian orders, these unlawful orders. So I talk really quick about Germany, the difference between our freedom right now and our freedom's waning. But Germany, you're not as free, are you, as we are still here, but this is what's coming to America.
Well, the difference that I can make out is really in the United States, you Americans, you have a completely different mindset when it comes to freedom and your liberties. You will stand up and you will, fight for it. In Germany, it's like, we have always been kind of subservient, to the authorities. That it's like, it's deeply embedded in our DNA, if you want, kind of like, well, if there's someone within a uniform or whatever, and he tells you something, you better do what he says, otherwise, So that's from at least the way I see it, that's different in the United States. And at that point, my hope actually lies with the Eastern European countries, because it hasn't been that long ago that they have overcome totalitarianism. But my hope also lies with the American people, because of your mindset. You actually, you do some crazy stuff to to defend your freedom, So my hope actually lies also with the American people to just say, stop it already. We will not take this anymore. And hopefully then we in Europe will be able to say, well, look what they're doing. They're not going to go for that shit. So we won't either. So it's kind of like, that's pretty much what I'm hoping for at this point.
Here's some practical things everybody can do. Do not go to digital currency. Refuse. I know it's easier for you and more convenient for you, but it's going to be less convenient for you when they lock you down, when you don't comply, and you won't have money and freedom to buy things like food and water. So why don't we have a worldwide pushback and everybody get rid of all of the apps and the bank apps and go back to that good old fashioned physical currency? That's one thing you can do. Also, you can stop buying at these massive, big corporate conglomerates who are on the World Economic Forum's basic payroll, who helps to support literally eroding your freedoms. How about that? And then the other thing is that you start needing to get into community with one another. It's very powerful when you do. And so I'm really blessed. Christine, I know I'm going to have you back on this show. I'm so thankful. Where can people go to find you?
Well, on Twitter, I'm all over Twitter apparently, so I've heard. So just Google me and you'll find me all over the place. So.
What's your website? Christine Anderson in the EU Parliament.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
She's got lots. I know on YouTube you're famous here and growing in the United States for your beautiful speeches. You're feisty. I'm proud to call you a friend. I'm so glad that we're going to lock arms. It's interesting. We've got some very powerful women standing up and being brave enough and putting everything on the line.
It's always the women. It's always the women.
Nothing against you men, but you know what? They've demoralized you and they've castrated you. We need real men to start standing up to. And you know what? We can be a true force to be reckoned with, right, Christine?
Exactly.
So thank you so much. God bless you. And I'll see you soon over in Germany. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Time. God bless you.
God bless you. Have a good day.
Thank
Bye.
you. You know, guys, I just want to end this. Freedom literally is on the thread of being gone forever. You are either going to let the light go out or you're going to fight to keep the light bright. The world is literally in your hands and what happens to her. What are you going to do? Will you be part of the problem or will you be part of the solution? To find out more, you can go to Christine website, look her up. You can go to Women Fighting for America. That's Women Fighting for America. And quite frankly, we're now fighting for the global citizens of the world against tyranny. Please join us every Sunday from 1 to 2 p.m. on Brighty on TV, and every Tuesday live when we can. Join the fight, fund the fight, volunteer the fight, get in community together. We can train you and we can tell you what you need to do to actually be the solution, because it's overwhelming. But we've got the tools to educate you, the world citizens. Until next Tuesday, thank you, Brighty on TV. Thank you so much for being a beacon of truth and light on the airwaves. God bless you. And as always, God bless the United States and the world.